Hello. Today on our Foundations for Success podcast, we're talking with Dianne Cesvette and Arleigh Hatcher. Both are nurses who've had to shift their businesses because of the coronavirus pandemic, but both are making it work. Dianne is a registered nurse and owner of Healthcare Training Solutions who trains caregivers. Arleigh is a nurse and owns Heart to Heart Career Training Center and Peak of Joy 3D Ultrasound and Spa. Let's learn a little more about each one. Dianne?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Dianne Cesvette, Healthcare Training Solutions, and I have been a nurse for more than 25 years, and since 2006 or 7, I have been working for myself. And so this new venture that I have undertaken, Healthcare Training Solutions, started in 2012, where I train caregivers, and these are the same people that I used to employ when I ran a home healthcare agency. And so I just changed my business model, and now I'm training the caregivers that I once hired, and I also assist them in finding positions.
Okay. Arleigh, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I own Heart to Heart Career Training Center and Peak of Joy 3D. Heart to Heart was established in 2010. It started off as a CPR company only, and we transitioned to career training in 2012. We have been very successful in business. We've trained over 8,000 people between CPR and fast track career training. And it's just been a ride, especially this year with coronavirus and having to switch from in-person classes. I'm sure Thomas Nelson can totally understand. It's shocking to drive through here and to really see not many cars here. You know, that's just what you're used to seeing. But we've been able to transition to online training courses. All of our fast track career training courses are hybrid, and with a little bit of it, they have to come into class to do the hands-on practice and still go to clinicals. Yeah,
with so much of both your businesses being hands-on and in person, how have you been able to make the switch with the pandemic and all the restrictions that are on us now? I mean, what's the journey been like?
So, well, for me, initially, it was like so sudden. It was like March 12th, everything fine. March 13th, y'all going to be closed for a week. March 14th, y'all going to be closed for 2 weeks. And after that, I was like, don't come back. We're just going to talk to y'all later. So luckily, we found a company that already had online courses online. So we use a third-party company to do our online courses. And that worked out, and it was great, for the first month or two, while my team ended up creating our online courses so that we can offer it from ourselves and not have to pay the extra fee. But in the interim, it was perfectly on time because it had allowed us to transition so fast without having to, have the time that it takes to transition a curriculum from in person to completely online.
And Dianne?
That's part of it.
Yeah, well, the last time I had a class in my office, in my classroom, was in the middle of March. And so to wind down by the end of March, nothing else, totally closed down the office. I took the month of April, that's when I made the transition. I employed a tech person, I got a computer program, we purposed it, I spent the entire month of April typing in and transitioning, doing all this online prep. And so I was able to actually open up I changed my website to accommodate the new settings. And I opened up actually April 30th. I think by May 1st, the first person registered online. And so when you ask about the online, the hands-on options, we sort of went by just what was required by the regulations. And so if hands-on was not required, then we're not offering hands-on. But we do have a course where we do have to do hands-on. And so we're doing that limited. It requires maybe 3 days. And so we're doing the hands-on in different places. But the classroom staff, we strictly online, they register online, they work online. There are times when I have to meet with someone, get them the books, because we have textbooks and workbooks. But other than that, it's strictly virtual. And it's been wonderful because I am now getting clients, registrants who are outside of my region, people in Northern Virginia, all over the state are registering for classes. So that's been wonderful.
Now, both of your businesses are based here in Hampton Roads, is that correct?
Yes, mine is.
So my business is in Williamsburg.
Okay.
But I will be opening up a CPR site in Virginia Beach because my
Okay.
business has two parts to it. One is the career training, the other part is the CPR training. So in Virginia Beach, we'll be offering the BLS, ACLS, and PALS training, which is required for nurses, doctors, medical professionals, people who care for others. So, yeah.
Were either of you worried at first when this came about? And did you have any doubts about being able to make this work?
I was terrified. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Seriously, what am I going to do? But then I had to remember, you have been doing this for years. This is not your first day. You know many, many people, and even if you don't have the answer, you can reach out and make connections and just try to figure it out the best way that you can. So luckily, I just graduated from the Scaling for Growth program in June. So thankfully, I was in that program. And Scaling for Growth, this is a 6-month MBA program, and it trains you to really grow your business and scale it up. So I had all of my colleagues in Scaling for Growth to really help me through and just keep my mindset positive, because that was the main thing. Because that first day, I was crying. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I'm not going to say, oh, everything was fine, I was great, I thought it was going to be okay. No, I was terrified. But then I just pulled myself together and remembered I had God, Google, Amazon Prime, and YouTube, and my friends. And here we are.
And Dianne, about
Yeah, it was a little scary, cause for concern. I was then just about ready to expand, to take on some new ventures. And so I had to pause. But of course, the entire academic world was going virtual. So I said, well, why not go virtual? What I needed to do was get the tools. So I just pulled out my books and said, who do I know? And I got a tech person. And I said, well, this is the program that I need. How do we find it? I didn't even know where to look for a program. And we came up with some programs. I looked them over. I chose one. I purchased it. It was installed. It was tweaked. We fixed the website, and we just got going. And I said, many a nights, 2 in the morning, I'm still at my laptop typing, because I did my own. I put the curriculum that I already had and had been using. I just put that in the system in a workable format, so someone could just go log on, purchase, pay, get their open it up, do their course. When they were done, I could see where they were, see when they're done, and I had it set up, and then they got their certificates. I would send them a certificate at the end, because sometimes I had a third-party payer who didn't want the registrant to get the certificate right then and there. So I set it up so they couldn't get their own certificate at the end. So I saw when they were done, and the rule of thumb was the next day, your certificate would be in the mail. And lots of folks would want their employees trained, but they wanted to get the paperwork when it was done. And so I just had it all set up. There's so many wonderful programs out there that just gives you everything that you need.
Yeah, and really the real pressure for me came when I started thinking about all the people that were relying on me and my business and my expertise from my family, because they have to have me being able to take care of them. Not that I don't have help, but, I'm a big part of it. And then my employees who rely on me to be able to have a job and to make a living, my students who are, counting on my school to be able to continue their training, because I had a lot of people who were right in the middle of class. So I couldn't just say, hey, sorry guys, you can't come to class anymore. I can't come up with a solution. You can't finish your program. That doesn't work either. So
it's eye-opening when you consider, how much your job and what you do affects, and the tentacles and trindles, that go out into our community.
Absolutely.
I commend you both for, keeping it going.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. I just find that this whole COVID, the timing, okay, this is not meant to say that the timing was perfect in terms of, it's a terrible thing. Lots of people have died. Lots of people lost their jobs, their businesses. It's really awful. And we all it's a daily struggle to keep ourselves safe.
Right.
But in terms of my personal life, when it happened, I had just finished the class, the second week of March. And so the next few days, I sort of wandered around in the days during the third week of March. So the class was over, didn't have any real commitments. I had classes planned for the future. Told everyone we will not be having those classes. Everything's on hold until further notice. But that transition was perfect. Just other things in my life that was going on, the end was perfect. It just sort of really worked out. and everything just sort of lined up. And now I'm doing business with people who never would have walked into my office.
Absolutely.
Never would have walked into my office.
Was there a point or a specific time where you said, I think we can make this work. We're going to be able to do this.
You know when that was? When I entered April 30th, I hit send and opened the website. And the very next day, someone registered. And a few dollars went into my checking account right away. I woke up that morning, and that was good. And then I was out. I love to garden. I'm an avid gardener. And I'm outdoors in my garden. And my cell phone rang, which is similar to a tripod. It's always on the side and someplace in the grass or close by. And someone called. I was watering, and they wanted something. And they wanted to set up a group session for their company. The company was up someplace up in Tawana, in that area. And I set it up, and I told them the price. I knew this company. I'd done business with them before in person. And so I didn't have to write anything down. I knew who they were, and had all their contact information. Didn't even turn off the water. And they wanted training for 18 people. And I was like, I'm watering my garden. And then I didn't even have coffee yet. It was wonderful. And I was like, this is going to work.
Yeah. Mine was definitely in June, when normally, because of space, we only have 10 students. But because it's online now, we can take way more because we just split them up when they come in for skills, because they don't have to be there in person for as many hours. So you can just say, okay, we're going to have 5 people come for 2 weeks for 4 hours a day, and then they're done with their skills. So in June, we had 22 nurse aid students sign up, which is a record for one class. And I just thought, wow, turns out I've been doing way more than I had to do. And we're actually never going back. Like the transitions and changes that we made because of COVID are going to stay.
I said never going back. There are certain things that I'm not going back to.
So some of the pros are, you found that going virtual or online has really showed you the benefits of doing that, and allowed your business to grow in other ways that
Absolutely.
maybe a brick and mortar may have held you back.
Yes. I didn't realize how much I was being held back.
Yeah, because we need less space. We pay less teacher hours. We get more students. From a business standpoint, it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. Just looking back at what we did before, I was just like, why was I doing all that? What was I trying to prove here?
I pay more for tech support, but it's more than worth it.
It's more than worth it. It's more than worth it.
Right, and on the community level, you say it benefits you business-wise, but I imagine having these good trained people who can get better paying jobs and or help their community,
Exactly.
et cetera. So it's a business positive, but it also sounds like it's a community positive.
For sure, we get so many students that are like, I'm so happy that you're doing it online, because prior to this, I was working 40 hours a week. There was no way I could come to a CNA class from 9 to 3:30, Monday through Friday. I couldn't do that. Even when they work evenings, that means they work 9 to 3:30, then they come to class from 4 to 8, or when it's time for clinicals, they're working all day, then going to clinicals from 3 to 11. It's a lot. And not to mention their families at home. So the online hybrid options are really the best for so many people.
Those busy working
choose
people,
that.
especially who are trying to train up or train across, or
Yeah, that's our target
Right.
audience, busy working people, particularly single parents.
What has been the key to the shift for both of you?
For me has been my online marketing. Oh, just kidding. For me has been my strong team. Shout out to Betty Jo Sergi, Kayla Lee, Amber Yasika. But they do so much, go above and beyond, make sure that our students are happy. My office manager is the best. She takes care of our students, makes sure that registrations are going well. She just, what would I do without that nice lady? Seriously, cry. That's what I do, cry.
Well, I've always specialized in like a hands-on. I try to be a part of really get involved, because I am the lead instructor in my program. And not only do I train, but I try to point people in the ways of getting jobs, because that's the whole idea, that they'll be employed in the long run. And so now that I'm doing this, I still focus on the community and focus on helping people once they've finished my program, because that's just the first step. Yes, they've paid me and they've gotten the training, they have the certificate, but what are they going to do now? And then I'm also participating in that the CARES program that Newport News is involved in, and that is training as well as helping them to find positions. And so I get calls from people who have been to my classes before. I get a lot of referrals, word of mouth. That has been wonderful. And I feel older now when everybody calls me Miss Dianne. And so they're always calling me and saying, Miss Dianne, do you remember me? And Arleigh, we see thousands of people, right?
Yeah.
Hundreds of people. And so, but yeah, I do feel I give that personal touch.
I'm sorry, excuse me, have you seen the job placement for you since the pandemic? So have you noticed a higher demand for some of those, positions you train for? I know there's always been a demand, but has it increased?
I have gotten calls from companies asking about my caregivers. Do you have anyone that's trained? Could you refer them to us? And so what I have started, and it's being tested right now, is a referral network where the people who I've trained who want to participate in the program, the majority of them do, they'll have a chance to create a profile, and that will be on my website. And so an employer could come to the profile and they can look and say, okay, where you live, what skills you have, what experience you have, and there'll be a little narrative about you. And so someone could select you. And as of now, everything is free. Nobody pays a fee for it. And so my caregivers have a way of listing themselves availability for work, and an employer can come on and select someone. And that referral network, instead of me having to call and say, call this company, you call you, they sort of make that connection on their own without me being a part of it directly. But I also, once the employer chooses a candidate, I would know, because then I would release the information, because I want to be able to monitor the flow. But setting up that referral system is a way of getting. So yes, there are people who are calling because they're having a hard time finding people. Because at first everyone was scared to go out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now people are venturing out, but employers are still looking, and they are reaching out to companies like mine to ask can you put me on I had a referral list anyway, and I said, okay, I'll put you on my referral list.
I just imagined with maybe a lot of the elderly staying home more, or for safety reasons, or just being required to, that there was just a larger demand for some of these assistances in the medical field.
Well, what I've seen is the facilities need more of the help. The home care agencies, they're coming around to needing more of the help too. But before, when it first started, so many people didn't want you in the home. Nursing homes didn't want to allow any visitors to come in, and that would include like sitters and people who worked maybe for a third party company that was coming in. So it got really, really tricky. But now that more people are allowing people to come to the home because they really need the help and the family can't support that anymore, there's been an increased need. So at Heart to Heart, we have just implemented this as of last week. We'll have the first one tomorrow. But we're going to be doing a live series where we interview home care agencies. And we're going to interview the home care agencies. We'll tell people how to hire. We'll want our students to log in to our Heart to Heart Facebook. So if you don't follow Heart to Heart on Facebook already, be sure to follow us at Heart to Heart Career Training Center. Also on Instagram at Heart to Heart CTC. But when we do those interviews, it serves such a dual purpose for everyone, because beforehand, home care agencies like Riverside, the hospital, Centera, they would come in to physically see our graduates and say, hey, we're hiring, here's our application, please come apply. But now it's a little bit trickier. So I think the online option is going to make it a lot better and easier for people to have access and know who's hiring and get their questions answered. Oh yeah. Tomorrow the first one will be with Latasha Vaney.
Well, you kind of beat me to the next question I was going to ask you. What's next for you and your companies?
Well, there are a couple of things that I have on the drawing board outside of just healthcare training. But one of the things I also wanted to say, if there are administrators, directors of nursing, HR folks that are hearing this, that to get in touch with Healthcare Training Solutions, because right now I have something going on where there's an assisted living facility. They want to cross-train their staff, and they are a little hesitant about having folks come into their facility for training, and they don't always have a place where they don't always find schools programs, or at least program is available. My program's available, but some of the other programs are not. And so what I have offered is they'll take my online course, and I'll go to their facility and give them the hands-on portion in their own environment. And so the companies that I already have a relationship with are very receptive to that. And so if there's anyone else who wants to cross-train their own people, because I'm small enough to be able to just come in, and I have a place I'm going into. There's 4 people there that's doing the online course now, and I'll go in for a few days and do the hands-on portion with them. And so that company is able to cross-train their own staff, and so they can get a greater set of services from them, the same team that's in place. And if there's anybody else who's looking for staff, can become a part of our network, our referral network.
So it sounds like you guys both have plans and looking ahead. You've not just what you're getting through today. You're looking down the road too.
Yeah, for sure. That's always a funny question. What do you have next? Because I always have like 20 things next. So I'm just going to give you a short list, a little quick summary. So I plan to continue to grow Heart to Heart, our Williamsburg office, continue to build community partnerships, continue to build partnerships with home care agencies, nursing homes, things like that. Continue to work up our scholarship resources. Like, a lot of people don't know about all the scholarship resources. They're like, okay, I want to take this class. They see the tuition. They're like, oh man, they talk themselves out of it. But they don't know we work with the workforce, who can pay for up to $4,000 in tuition assistance if they qualify. We work with the bargain box, who can pay $1,000 to $2,000, and that's strictly for York County Pocosin residents. We work with social services. We work with Department of Rehab. We work with tuition assistance from your employers. So there are lots of options. So if you're interested in coming to school, coming to Heart Career Training Center, give us a call and we can help you to figure out how to get your class without having to pay the tuition if you qualify. So that's one thing, building the partnerships and relationships and increasing awareness. Also our Virginia Beach site for CPR, ACLS, and PALS training. And just continuing our online course and expanding our courses. I'm looking into bringing on some more where they don't have to come into class at all. They're 100% online, but I'm just working out which courses will be offered for that. So that's mostly what's coming up next. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I have to tell you something else. I was nominated for Entrepreneur of the Year. And if you want to vote for me, you can vote for me as many times as you want. 5 times a day if you like, or 10 if you're really feeling fancy. And it's at blackdiamondweekendva.com. So go there, vote for me. I really want to win. Normally I'm fine. I'm like, I don't care, one way or the other. I'm happy for the nomination. But I want to win. I want to make that clear to y'all. So please vote for me.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm so excited. This has been a hard year. So to get to the end of the year and somebody to really recognize your efforts and what you've been doing, it really just meant a lot.
It sounds like you both have been working, both of you,
yes,
working really, really hard to keep this going and to adapt to this new environment. And here I go talking about community again. I know in my community, if people in my community are successful, then the community is successful, and it just keeps going. So see, look at all happy.
Yes.
So what advice would you have to others out there that may be a little stuck as they're trying to cope with the pandemic, and may have been in your situation too?
Well, that fits right in line with one of my affirmations, is that I feel that I'm personally never stuck. Never stuck. You can reach out to people. You can reach out to people that are around you. You have the wonderful world of the internet. You have so many places that you can look, but you have to open your eyes to opportunity and expect the good things. People want good things for you. People want to see you succeed. The right people want to see you succeed. Maybe not everybody. But just change your mindset to a more positive one and look for the good things, because they're there.
Yeah, this whole COVID thing gave me a chance to reflect. And instead of looking at all the things that I can't do, there are lots of things that I couldn't do.
Absolutely.
Look at what I could do. And so I just sort of sat, pencil and paper in hand, and I just paused. And I just thought about it. What needs are there? What do I want to do? What do I like doing? And actually, I did not have a problem not have to go to the tunnel or cross the bridge. It was actually rather, relaxing. I just sat out, got my pad and paper, got a cup of coffee, and I would just sit for a couple of days, hours at a time, and start writing things down. Start listening to, and what does it feel like? How do I want to be? And I just looked at what was possible and started from there, and eliminated the naysayers.
Yeah,
I didn't
there
talk
you
to
go.
them. I didn't
Are they
talk to
there?
them. I've eliminated
Are they
those.
there?
I have
I don't
eliminated those people from my life for the last several years anyway. So that was not hard. I had already done that.
Sounds like you both look at the glass as half full
Oh, it has to be.
instead of half empty.
Absolutely.
Have everything I need no matter what.
Yeah, and I think the
Always.
pandemic, for a lot of us, not all of us, but maybe the glass half full people, I don't know, the pandemic has reawakened some, maybe some things I forgot. About like getting back in nature and being out in my neighborhood more and checking on my neighbors more and, just being more involved. So, gosh, I don't ever want to say the pandemic's been a good thing, but I think it has reminded us of the, many of the good things.
I'm struggling with the guilt of feeling that because for me, the pandemic has really given me the space to strategize and prioritize and figure out what's important. So for me, it has been, I'm going to say the word, great. It has been.
I feel that
but
the guilt of feeling that way. I thought I was just me that had that thought.
No. But I recognize that for many people, this pandemic has been a nightmare. It has been the worst time of their life. It's been a time where nothing is ever going to be the same. So, it's a difficult thing, but I definitely don't want to minimize or diminish the many blessings that have come out of COVID.
Right.
Or the
because
suffering of
that.
others,
Or
right?
the
The suffering of others, that's what they
Right.
say.
They
There's
both are true.
opportunities in
Ooh.
every.
Yeah.
That's a word from my therapist. Both are true.
Yeah.
Both are true.
Yeah. There are opportunities in every tragedy. You just have to
And
find it.
learning.
And learning,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've gotten smart as, listen, when I tell y'all, I have gotten about 10 years smarter in this pandemic. Because I've had time, I've been taking classes, I've been reading books, I've been, doing as much as I can to improve, to make my business work smarter and make it more efficient without me having to be in it running around. Because I can't. I have 2 small kids at home. They're not in school. Well, my son goes to school 2 days a week now.
That's a blessing.
I didn't mean to yell on your mic, but I'm very excited about that. I needed it.
All right. Well, now we hope to have a little more fun with you with some questions. Since you're both have nursing backgrounds or are nurses, have you either one of you had to perform CPR or a life-saving procedure on anybody?
Oh, yeah. When I worked as a nurse, I haven't worked in the hospital or as a nurse since 2013. But when I did, I used to be a travel nurse. I did that for 5 years. I have been the DON of a home care agency. I worked in home care. I've done as much as I could do as a nurse. So I guess the short answer is yes. I've done before. I would love to save somebody's life again, but I don't want to do the paperwork.
I have been an ICU nurse in a level 1 trauma center in New York City.
Ooh.
So have I done that? Too many times to count. It's like the average patient of ours was in a coma on life support.
Wow.
And that was just standard. If they were either the illness put them in a coma or they were manually placed in a coma because of the nature of the illness. And so we did that all the time. So that's true.
So related to that, so as nurses in hospitals, you perform CPR and save people's lives. How about, do you know of any situations like maybe you taught CPR, trained in CPR, and someone's called you up and said, "Hey, I'm so glad I'm so glad that I took this course and I learned CPR and this helped me save my neighbor or friend or whatever."
I was in a facility teaching a CPR first aid class, and a resident in the facility was choking. And someone ran down the hall to say, "Where's the CPR lady?" And I ran to the dining room. and performed Heimlich
Wow.
on a resident in the middle of my CPR class.
Yeah,
Perfect timing.
I was going to say, I bet that was a very high-ranking graduating class, you think? They're like, wow, this is important, right?
Yeah.
And that was the second time I was doing the Heimlich. The first time I did the Heimlich was many, many, many moons ago on my ex-husband.
Oh, wow.
Well, I didn't know then how it was going to turn out, so I did.
That's exactly right.
But even if you knew, you still would have saved him. I know what you meant.
Oh, sure.
Well, I had a situation when I was at Peak of Joy, our ultrasound studio. We teach infant CPR there, and we had a mom and dad come, and they had no idea that their baby would have any issues, afterwards. And she learned, her and her husband and her daughter learned infant CPR. And after she had the baby, her baby ended up having a respiratory problem. And she never had to physically do CPR, but she gave us a shout out and said, thank you so much for the training, because I feel like I would know what to do if I really had to. And that's the time to know CPR is before the emergency happens. You don't want to have this terrible emergency and say, dang, I wish I knew CPR.
Right.
You want to know it before it happens. So
But that's so rewarding, yeah.
Yes, very much so.
Your training, whether you're using it or someone else is using it, knowing that it's being put to practical use.
Absolutely.
And saving or helping people.
But even when I was in the hospital, you see somebody who comes in such bad shape, and then you watch them improve, and then you watch them leave your unit. So that has always been very rewarding.
I'm amazed at the human body's ability.
It's absolutely
to
resilient, isn't
heal
it?
itself. if given the right tools, nutrition,
Absolutely,
et cetera,
absolutely.
it's fantastic.
Yes.
Absolutely.
What's the most adventurous thing you've done?
in life,
Yes.
I like to do lots of crazy things. One time I held a shark. It was a big shark too, in my lap. I like to jump off cliffs when I go on vacation. Jumping off the cliff at Rick's Cafe.
Oh yeah,
So-
I've been
so
there
is
many.
that like
I've been there many
free fall?
times.
Is that like free falling or rappelling, or when you say jumping off?
I mean, there's a cliff and you jump into the
So
ocean.
it's, okay.
Like,
Yes,
You know,
I know.
I've seen
I know
people
that
jump with
spot. I've been there.
parachutes, I've seen people rappel, so I just wasn't sure.
It's
if you
about
were
a.
doing it.
It's about a 2 to 3 story drop.
it's huge. I don't know. It felt like I landed on the glass table. I wouldn't do it again, but it was a great time. The video is adorable. But I won't be having another video of that.
I've been to that spot many a time, but I was the one at the top with a drink, and just looking at the other people.
You're the smart one. You're the smart one. I'm the crazy one. See, what happened was I was at the top. I was having the drinks, and then I ended up on the ledge. So that's where I went wrong.
And the water is very
A
enticing.
little bit of
That's-
liquid courage.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. But I went there intentionally to do that. So I'm still glad. I still jump off cliffs every time I go on vacation.
It's great when you face those little, fears or insecurities and overcome them.
Absolutely. It's like every time I do something I was scared to do, I get more courage. I'm like, wow, if I was able to do that, especially having kids is the main thing that made me think like that. I'm like, if I can have a baby, obviously I can do anything. Also passing my NCLEX. I'm like, obviously I'm a nurse. Proof that I'm smart. I'm obviously a genius.
Absolutely.
There's nothing to talk
You know,
about.
I'm not a
There's nothing to talk about.
daredevil.
Look at my nursing license if you want to know how smart I am.
I'm not a daredevil, but for several years I rode a motorcycle, and that was fun.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I know.
How
Oh,
freeing did that feel?
Oh, wonderful!
Yeah.
Wonderful. But safety was always first. I went down to the BMW school, took a couple classes, but I just ride. And I rode quite a distance. I rode to Atlanta on my bike.
Whoa.
Or to the Jersey, Pennsylvania, just around town all the time. So that was fun. But I gave that up. I just don't feel the vibe to ride anymore. But quitting my job and starting a business, no health insurance, no income, that's standing on the ledge.
That's correct.
Yes.
That's jumping off.
That was the scariest thing. You're
That
right.
was jumping off the ledge.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's courage for sure.
What's something you'd like to learn or wish you were better at?
I want to learn to play the piano. I played when I was about 9-10 years old. I have a piano in my house that I bought at an estate sale in Norfolk several years ago, and I do not remember much of what I learned when I was I think I stopped at about 11. I played from maybe 8 or 9 to about 11 or 12. And so I'll be a little lady sitting in front of the piano, learning the scales and practicing something. So I want to I wanted to get back into learning the piano. And I'll probably take lessons once this pandemic is over.
Nice.
I want to get better at speaking Spanish.
Oh, me too. I'm learning.
Yeah, me too. I've been doing
learning
Duolingo. So I want to get better at speaking Spanish. I want to get better at online marketing. Sheesh. I almost have it. I think I'm taking a class. And I want to get better at gardening. I just recently got some plant babies. I have a money tree and I have a fiddle leaf fig. And I think my money tree got a coat or something. I don't know. I have to figure out what's going on.
See,
with
that is
that.
interesting. We have a lot in common because I am an avid gardener.
Really?
Yes,
I need to
and
talk
I'm
to you about my
actually
tree.
about to plant today, maybe tomorrow, to get my fava beans in the ground. I'm going to inoculate them and plant them. And I have tons of things. Even in the house, I have grow lights, so things that I take inside, and I have things that I do over the winter. And I am going to be putting up some fences to get the deers out of my greenery. But yeah, I love to garden. Y estoy aprendiendo español.
Now, wait a minute now. I'm on the second week of Duolingo. Don't do that.
So I've been working on my Spanish for quite some time now.
Yeah.
See.
Me llamo es Arleigh. Dianne.
What's your
Solo
favorite?
as Star said, I don't know.
Right. A little something,
Something
you know. A little something.
my middle school, piano class.
What's your favorite place on earth?
I'm from Jamaica, so maybe I should say that because that's my native land, and I lived there through high school. And I've been to the top of Blue Mountain, which is the highest peak on the island. And to be a little nostalgic, I'll say Jamaica.
You know, as soon as you said Jamaica, what came to my mind was Blue Mountain.
And I've been, yes, that's the mountain.
Just, you know, I've not been there myself. I'd love to go, but just the imagery I've seen. And then I have bought Blue Mountain coffee. I love it,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. So, wow. And so did you grow up in the rural part of
I grew up
Jamaica, or
near
more-
Ocho Rios,
I'm
which
sorry?
is on the north coast. I grew up near the north coast.
Okay.
Well, you know, it's, what would I call that? It's a touristy area because you had so many, you just by the beach, near the beach, and so you had lots of hotels, and so I saw lots of tourists when I was a kid. Of course, they all sound the same to me. I could never tell a New England accent different from a Texas accent. I just knew it was an American accent. Now that I've lived in New York, in Massachusetts for a little bit, and so now it's very distinct. Of course, I can tell the accents now, but as a kid, they just, you know, they really did all sound the same.
For me, I feel like I can have a great time anywhere. So my favorite place on earth is honestly in my body. But if I have to like say a physical place, with my family in Mexico. That was a great time. We went to Cancun one year. Both my kids are kind of small, and it was a beautiful. It was just a beautiful experience for everyone. It wasn't even really the space. It was like the energy that came with us. So, in my body with my family.
I think travel, when possible, is essential in life. Personally, I think that's, you know, seeing new cultures, new folks, new lands, and realizing that, wow, there are a whole lot of ways to live your life.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Not just one,
Absolutely.
and it's not just America.
Yeah. And I've been up to Alaska. I don't want to stay, but it was fun to visit.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've never been there.
To see a moose on the side of the road, you know, that was fun.
That sounds terrifying, but I want to do it.
Well, thank you very much for your time today, and you know, it's great to see success stories coming out of these trying times, difficult times.
And thanks for sharing them with us.
Yes, and
Of course.
if you would like to, you know, plug your businesses one more time, go ahead.
I am with Healthcare Training Solutions, and if there's anyone, residents of Newport News who want to be a part of, who want to participate in the CARES Act, want to get some training, the program ends December 30th, and so you have to sign up now so you can be there, and there's no cost to you for this training. So when you work in the healthcare industry, want to be in the caregiving industry, call us and we can get you trained. And I'm reaching out to administrators and directors of facilities who want to get their staff cross-trained. Call me and we can work on that.
Wonderful. So I own Heart to Heart Career Training Center. We're based in Williamsburg. We offer fast track medical career training, CPR, ACLS, and PALS training. You can come to us for training, or we can go to you. I also own Peak of Joy 3D Ultrasound and Spa. We are based in Williamsburg. We offer 3D 4D ultrasounds for pregnant women. We also do 8-week early gender testing. So if you're only 8 weeks pregnant, we can draw your blood and let you know what you're having in 1 business day. Accuracy is 99.1%. You can follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. Facebook is Heart to Heart Career Training Center and Peak of Joy 3D Ultrasound and Spa. You do have to write the whole thing out. And on Instagram, we're at Heart to Heart CTC and at Peak of Joy 3D. Also, don't forget about that nomination for Entrepreneur of the Year. And you can vote for me at blackdiamondweekendva.com. My name is Arleigh Hatcher, and I thank you so much for your all support.
Well, great. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, ladies.
This
you.
has
Thank
been
you so much.
a Foundation for Success podcast from Thomas Nelson Community College. I'm Bob Flynn, and it's along with Michelle Shonk.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.